catch it here. Ooh, how I miss talking about music. Earlier this year, after several single releases, Gaspard Auge, who is one half of the French electronic duo Justice, released an amazing album. The album is thematically coherent, has incredible sound design, and it combines the old with the new masterfully. I read in Pitchfork about the album, and the author there was talking about how this album sounds like it was an EDM album from the 70s. That individual has no clue what they're talking about. This album is what EDM would sound like in the late 1700s. The smell of classical music was always engraved to the Justice sound, but this collection takes it to another level of maturity. The Needle Drop also reviewed this album, but I guess he's an uncultured swine, as the whole album just went way over his head. I will take my time and talk about each song individually, because I can't do justice to the album otherwise. The album opens with a 38-second intro, Welcome, which gives some ideas about the sound profile of the collection. As a Justice fan, as soon as the synths hugged me, I knew I was home. Next song, Force Majeure, is the first single that came out of the album, and I found the song very well put together. The melody is aggressive, and the repetition of it doesn't feel boring, since there's enough instrumental variety. The sound design and the mix go hand in hand in projects like these. Everything is in its right place. I especially love the melody towards the end of the piece with the syncopades. Rocambole is the third song in the album, and it's my second favorite song in here. The build-up is amazing, the melody is phenomenal, and the mix is flawless. The tempo never falls, and I just get more and more hyped throughout the song. I especially can't get enough of the first drop. The breakdown of the rhythm is not predictable and catches you off guard until you get used to it, which is something I appreciate a lot. I also adore how the second melody picks up where the first one left off at the first bridge. I'm talking about the synth sound that goes up and takes over the melody. It resembles the oboe in Mozart's Grand Partita. I listened to this song on repeat many times. I just cannot get enough of it. The fourth song of the album is Europa. It starts with the staccato sound that resembles a ball with a tough exterior dropping on the ground and bouncing in the stereo field. This sound acts as an anchor for the rest of the song. Where the song starts branching out, Gaspard brings us back to the idea again and again. The second part of the song, with the vacuumed kicks, is such a blast to listen to. The sound design is so elegant, it brought tears to my eyes. When the vocals come in, the fullness of the piece is just incredibly satisfying. I already love the wall of sound structure, as you know, from my previous videos. Europa got there so sneakily, I couldn't understand what hit me the first time I listened to it. Next song is called Pentacle. I enjoyed the sound design of the bass and the mix, but the song in general didn't do much for me. I understand the idea and the goal. However, I think it is not as polished and thoughtful as the rest of the album. It seems very repetitive without much going on. There is only one more song I feel this way about in the album. I will talk about it when the time comes. Hey! Is the second single that came out of the album. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it at first. I thought if I wrote that bass line, I would have thrown it away. However, the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me. I really appreciate the march-like structure of the song. I love marches and stuff that keeps me on the edge of my seat. And I can say this song accomplishes both of those. I am not 100% on board with the first part of the song. But after the 2.5 mark, you know it is a masterpiece when the vocals start coming in and out. The bass becomes groovy and the melody becomes heavenly. It is not among my favorites in the album, but I don't skip the song when it starts playing. The seventh song of the album, Captain, is my number 3. It is the 5th single of the album, and I loved it the moment I heard it. The melody is incredibly cute. The bass is the grooviest of them all, and the modulation comes so early it threw me off like a motherfucker. The bass is just so full of emotion and meaningful that it is like its own song. I think the Pitchfork person listened to only this song and wrote the whole article about the album. Structurally, the song is phenomenal and a contribution to the modern music at a different level. I see you and I appreciate you. Lacrimosa was very scary for me since I cry every time I listen to Mozart Requiem. I thought this was gonna be the same, and I was right. The song runs rampant on the feels department. The melody is on a clavichord that speaks to my soul. The sound design is amazing in the drums and bass area, and the vocals continue the operatic theme of the album. Then the canon-like structure in the bass, following the melody, gives the never-ending feel until the flute comes in. I don't like the timbre of flute that much in general, but it felt remarkable for this transition. The use of silence is also phenomenal here, and it prepares you for what's next. One of the most amazing sounds I ever heard. I'm talking about the meow 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 structure on the instrument that carries the melody. It is just right. The sound reminded me of Thomas Bangalter's signature sound, but this is much more subtle, much less in your face. It elevates the feelings that have already been established in the beginning masterfully. I think this is my favorite song in Escapades. Next up is Belladon, which is the fourth single that came out of the album. The first 3 minutes of the song is very high tempo, and I cannot stop dancing no matter how hard I try. However, the best part of the song starts on 3:30 when the melody gets more sophisticated. The vocals are there again, carrying the theme throughout the album. It is a remarkable piece, and I just cannot get enough of the drum and bass section of the song. I also love how they add layers of melodies on top of each other without losing anything. I love this technique since I first heard of it on Klaxon's 2 receivers. It sounds incredibly elegant. Casablanca is the 10th song in the album. The sound design is okay, but there are some inconsistencies in the mix as the overwhelming noise comes in and out in the first part. Also, the melodies are just not as interesting as the other songs in the album. The eerie synth in the second half of the song is beautiful, but overused in the industry in general. It is the other song I skip when I get to it, unfortunately. The use of flutes doesn't help, but maybe that's just me. The third single that came out of the album is Vox. The gated structure of the vocals underneath keeps you on the edge of your seat until the beautiful wall of sound hits. The bass line in this song is really something else. The transitions are phenomenal, unpredictable, and the second half of the song is incredibly different from the first half. I wish the synth that carrying the melody in the second half was louder. I first listened to it on mobile and it was apparent, but when I switched to my professional studio monitors, I felt it was underutilized. It is a well-composed, amazing piece nevertheless. Definitely one of the highlights of the album. Finally, with Reverie, Gaspard says goodbye with a beautiful and heartfelt piece. The mix is okay. The bass growing and shrinking is really nice and it keeps things interesting. This song is the end of the album and it feels like it is preparing for the farewell after such an intense journey. Then, it leaves you hanging. This album is one of the best things I have listened to this year. Thematically solid, compositionally phenomenal, mix-wise above average, and the feelings that it serves me through are remarkable. Most songs establish their essence in the first half, and there is almost like an intermission in every one of them. Then they evolved into something much more sophisticated. It feels a little formulated after a lot of listening, but the execution is so f***ing good, I forget about the structure in every song when the second part comes. I hope you all like my review and give a chance to Escapades. Leave a comment, hit those like and sub buttons to make me a happy kitty. And I'll see y'all next time.